Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be doing my buys and buys for January. So this is how I am keeping track of my empties and also my purchases. I am currently on a low buy / controlled buy, and I can link my intro video. I always point here. I know it's here. I'll link my intro video up here in the eye and I'll link it down below. But otherwise, let's go ahead and look at the purchases and the items that I used up in January. So I have to close my door whenever I film, and of course my dogs are extremely upset that they don't have access to me. So I'm sure in the background of all my videos you'll hear pitter patter outside my door, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and do my empties first, and then I'll review my purchases. I also had to grab my coffee. This is my Florida Starbucks mug with my lipstick on it, of course. Also, don't mind my hair. There's so much dry shampoo in it right now. It is wash night for sure, but I did not have time to wash my hair last night, so we are just rocking this big old poofa thing that's going to be the friend on my shoulder in this video. There's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. But I did catalog my empties all last year on Instagram, and if you had followed me on Instagram and you're coming over here, but I keep all my empties in this old popcorn bucket. So, I am a huge Star Wars fan. I think I've established this in other videos. I have Star Wars memorabilia all over my office. I have a replica lightsaber that was before Disney opened up all their stuff. Back when the episodes 1 through 3 were coming out, there was a company that was making metal replica lightsabers, and my husband bought them all, and I have acquired the Palpatine one because I think it's the prettiest lightsaber. The man had class, I gotta say. But I love Star Wars, but there's a reason that I keep my trash in this one. We will leave it at that. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to pull from the top in no particular order. We have makeup, skincare, hair care in here, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing on the top is the Innisfree Balancing Toner. I have repurchased this tons of times. I absolutely love this product as kind of my first step of my skincare in the morning. I am working through a different essence right now, but I will end up repurchasing this. Then we have a face wash. I had mentioned in my empties video that these Equate foaming facial cleansers, which is kind of the like drugstore dupe of the CeraVe ones, I go through about 4 or 5 of these a year. So I figured I didn't track them last year, but I'm going to track them this year. So this is my first empty of these. We have some hair care here. So just a little Tresseme hairspray. This was originally in my desk at work, and when I came home to work from home, of course I had to bring all those mini products with me. So I am trying to work through a lot of the minis that I kept in my desk. I'm working through the dry shampoo. It's not my favorite, but that hopefully will be an empty soon. But this was just a little hairspray. It did the job. I mean, I wish that these smelled a little bit better because like it smells like hairspray. So anytime I had to use it at work, the next client would come in and they could smell that I just sprayed my hair down. So I wish it smelled different. Another hair care. We have the IGK Legendary Shampoo. I got this in a FabFitFun and I enjoyed it, but these are so expensive that I don't see how anybody would pay like 30 something. Let me see how much this was. I have my spreadsheet in front of me. Actually, wait, this is the conditioner. I'm sorry, I'm still working on the shampoo. This is the conditioner, but this is $31 for this little thing. So I go through conditioner so quickly that buying something like this is not something that works for me. I use hair masks whenever I really want to condition, but I mean, I'm thankful that I got it in a FabFitFun. I was able to try a new brand to me, and otherwise, it's not something I would repurchase. I can get some kind of workhorse products out of the way. So I used up a Burt's Bee chapstick in Vanilla Bean and then a mini of the Gold Bond hand cream. So I have eczema on my hands, and especially it pops up on my finger tips, and it's extremely painful on my fingertips. So I moisturize the crap out of my hands. So this was one that was in my purse, so I ended up using this up, and I have replaced it, and I buy a crap ton of these every year. I also repurchased the Burt's Bees. Right now I'm working on, I bought a 4-pack for the fall, and so the one I'm using right now is like a chai tea latte flavor, and it's actually really good. So I love the Burt's Bees chapsticks. SPFs I consider in my makeup spreadsheet, but really this can be considered skincare. This is the Tula Glowy SPF 30. I also received this in a FabFitFun subscription box. It did go a lot quicker than some of my other sunscreens, but this is extremely glowy. Now, since I have oily skin, I didn't really notice that it caused my makeup to break up more, so at least that worked. But this also comes with little like micro, I don't want to call them beads, but really micro beads in it that when you rub it into your face, the beads break up, and maybe that's what has the glow in it. But this isn't something that I would repurchase, but if it came back up on like a FabFitFun as a option for me to pick, I would consider using one of these up again. So I have a whole handful of makeup empties right here. So I did end up using, this is just a mini of the NYX Pore Filling Primer. I bought this last January to use particularly around my nose right here where I have some bigger, deeper pores. It worked decently well, and also it lasted a whole year. So for a $6 product, for me to just use it in those pinpointed areas, this lasted a year, and I thought it was worth the price. I do have an e.l.f. pore filling primer right now that I'm trying out, but this is something that I would go back to in the future. Next, I have the mini of the Smashbox Primerizer. I bought a bunch of these whenever they went 50% off when Smashbox was changing the packaging. I do feel like these are now at the age that they're not performing the way that I remember. So I have one more of these, and it's going to be my goal to kind of focus on that and get it used up maybe over the summer. But this is not as good as what I remember, and I feel like I've found other primers that I enjoy a whole lot more than this one. I went through the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I actually really enjoyed this. I remember not liking it from years ago, but I ended up getting this as a birthday gift, and I did like the way it made my makeup look. So I feel like I can get the same look as this with the Sephora Volumizing Mascara, but this really did start smudging and transferring and flaking towards the end of its lifespan that I was using it. But I did enjoy getting this as a gift, and I also enjoyed kind of re-familiarizing myself with this product and with this formula. I used up the Clinique, it's like a, what is this called? Quickliner in black. This is in my 23 and 23, and I ended up pulling this out to use it, and like in 2 more uses it was done. But this is one of the things that you can't roll it all the way up to see how much product is in there, so you're kind of left guessing how much. So being able to use this up in 2 uses and kind of get the first product in my 2023 off the charts, I enjoyed it. This is a very good eyeliner for your tight line. It does not budge. I'm using up the Urban Decay one right now, and by the end of the day, that liner has just kind of smeared off of my tight line, and I can see it under my eyes. So this is something that I would repurchase, or these I usually will get in kind of like a bundle gift set with like a mascara and an eyeliner and maybe a cleanser or something. Clinique always does those little gift packages. So this is something that I would definitely repurchase once I have used up a few more of my other eyeliners. Then we have the Clinique, which I always forget the name of this, Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer. So this was the main concealer that I was using last year. I had some markings on it, but I ended up not liking the doe foot packaging, and so I decanted this into an airless pump. So I finally used this up. So using this up as a concealer, I can understand why it takes you all year because it's an ounce of concealer. So I ended up getting this free as a like the tiered rewards gifts at Ulta. So I got this for free. When did I get this? 2020. So apparently I was at whatever level in 2020 to get this as a free gift. This is not necessarily something that I would seek out again for myself. I did enjoy the formula, but for me, it's not as full coverage for a foundation or as for a concealer as I like to cover my redness and my rosacea. Two more products in the Empties. So this is a First Aid Beauty Ginger and Turmeric Vitamin C Mask. I did end up finding this at a TJ Maxx. I remember years ago, Samantha March was talking about how she enjoyed this product. And when I saw it at TJ Maxx, I went ahead and I snapped it up. I did really enjoy using this. I'm not sure what it did for my skin, but it was like a gel consistency, so it was refreshing to put onto my face. I have in my planner, I have a habit tracker, and the first item on my habit tracker is self-care. So I intentionally am mindful about self-care, and that is the first thing that I should do every day before I do anything else on my habit tracker. So putting on a face mask, doing a foot mask, soaking my feet, taking a bath, all of these things I consider self-care. It doesn't have to be a spa trip. It can be something that I do for myself at home. So this definitely helped me kind of participate in self-care and get this used up. The last thing is a nail polish. So this is one of the Essie Gel Couture nail polishes, and you can see my markings. I had this in a deck of panning last year. So I ended up using up that much in 1 month for deck of panning, and then I ended up finishing it off between December and January. Once it gets down to about that line, you can't really get your brush into it, and so I ended up having to use, actually, a lid to some sort of container. Whenever I would watch Christina's channel for Holo Taco, she talked about like pour art and how you could pour your nail polish out and mix it together, let it dry, and then you actually create like a decal. And that's what I did with this. I created decals with another polish and I swirled them, and it was a really pretty design. And it's an easier way, instead of doing like water marbling, to be able to get that marble type look on your product. So I really did enjoy using up this polish. It was a beautiful shade. I've kind of moved on from this Essie formula. I have two more in a like pan that polish right now. So I'm trying to use those up, and then I can link the short down below, but I am doing, like I said, a pan that polish. And as a reward for using up some more of my Essie polishes, I am going to make an order for Holo Taco polishes later this year. So be on the lookout for when that happens, because those will end up here in this Buys and Buys. So those are all my empties for the month. I was inspired to do this series by Elizabeth, and I will have her channel linked down below. And the way that she did this last year was that the amount of her empties was the amount that she could spend on new products. That's how she did it last year. She's doing it a little bit different this year, but I can't do that because my empties end up equaling a lot more than even what I could budget for products. So for January, I did end up using $197.50. So that is almost double what my budget is for each month. So I'm not doing a one in, one out type of style. I am just keeping track of my empties and the cost and the amount that I'm getting out of my collection. And then I have a dedicated budget for my products that I'm bringing in. So let me go ahead and pull out my purchases and we'll go over that. So for my controlled buy, I am doing $50 a paycheck that goes into a little savings account at my bank. And then that is what I can make purchases out of. So if I want to purchase something like a Natasha Denona palette, I have to save up over 2 paychecks to be able to have that amount. I did allow myself to kind of go in the negative last year and then kind of like recoup the money and pay it off. But I don't really want to do that this year. So I am trying to stick to, if I don't have the money available in my balance, then I'm not allowing myself to purchase the item until I do. So with that, I only used $54 in January of products. So I had an option to use $100 worth of purchases, but I only did $54. So with that, I made two different purchases from two different brands. And so the first purchase that I made was from DSDM Shop. So she makes sponges. So I fell in love with her sponges. Again, this was a Samantha March recommendation, and I fell in love with the sponges. I bought a couple like 3 years ago, and then these have become my holy grail sponges. Now, I think because of, are we allowed to say pandemic on YouTube without like getting canceled or something? I know so many people, oh, the panini, the time, whatever, but I think because of what happened in 2020, that maybe her supply chain slowed down, or the way that she ended up getting her sponges manufactured slowed down. This is a single woman owned and run business, so she does it by herself. So this isn't necessarily a huge company that I'm buying from, but she hasn't restocked on a lot of her products in like a really long time. And so I'm worried that the stock that she has, she's selling and then she's not going to restock. So because I had that fear that my Holy Grail sponge would not be available to me anymore, I did buy 6 of them. Now, last year I bought quite a few sponges to get me through 2023. So these 6 sponges hopefully will get me through 2024 and into 2025. So these sponges are not necessarily something that I'm going to break out right now, but these are the like chocolate and mint swirl, and I will show you what they look like. This is one of the ones that I'm using right now. This is how big and fluffy they get. I washed this one this morning so that you guys didn't have to see how gross it is, but they have the point on one side, they're flat on this side, and then they have the round on this side. So the way that I use this sponge is, of course, I apply my foundation with the bottom round side, and then I do concealer, cream bronzer, and cream blush with this side, with the rounded side here. Then I also put on powder with this rounded side. This flat side, the only thing I do is after I spray with setting spray, I spray a few sprays on this flat side, and I use that flat side to tamper everything down. And that is my favorite use of these sponges, and I feel like the sponges that are rounded all the way around don't get that good press into your skin to kind of tamp down your products. So this is my favorite style of sponge. The level of squish is amazing. These wash so well. Like I washed ones all last year and I'm still using them. So I will continue to purchase these as long as she makes them. I will link them down below, even though I kind of want to like hoard these for myself. I will link them down below because I would love to support a female-run business. So those 6 sponges came up to a cost of $36, and that included shipping. So that was the biggest portion of my purchases for January. But then I no longer had a glowy product to mix in with my foundation, and I like to add a little bit of glow in with my foundation. So I had been looking at a bunch of different glowy products, and I did end up settling for e.l.f. So I went onto the e.l.f. website and I placed an order through them because I had points. So I ended up buying 3 products from e.l.f. I did pick up the Halo Glow. This has a big old doe foot on it, and this is the lightest shade. I kind of wish that they had a shade just a little bit lighter or a little bit pinker, because while that is beautiful, it still is a little bit deep for my skin tone. I wish they had a more, is even the champagne-y, so like a champagne pinky kind of shade. I wish they had one shade lighter than this, but I mean, it's beautiful. I've been enjoying mixing it in with my foundations. I usually do 2 dips in and wipe the doe foot off on I have a glass palette that I mix my foundations on. So I do put this onto my glass palette. I pump my foundation in there. I mix it together. I'm going to get this all over my white shirt if I'm not careful. But I really have been enjoying the product so far, and I am tracking the weights and the uses on this, mainly for my own self because I want to see how long it takes to use this up. Next, I did purchase another e.l.f. Wow Brow. This is in Burnett, and so I'll open this. I'm not ready to use this yet, but this just has this tiny, tiny wand on it, which I absolutely love this product. I'm using the NYX Thick It Stick It right now, and that's getting to the point where it's almost too thick and it's kind of making a mess. So I think I'm going to end up having to call that one quits before it's actually empty, but I'm super excited to kind of get to use this again, and I am very happy that I was able to pick this up. There was a shortage of colors of that on Ulta, so I really hope that e.l.f. is not phasing that product out. The last product that I ended up getting from e.l.f. is one of their new lipsticks. And so this is the O face, so they're kind of like dupe for the NARS Audacious. I did end up getting this in the shade Dirty Talk. It has the nice like soft touch, and then also everybody's been talking about the magnetic closure on them. It also has that beautifully shaped bullet to it. And this is the shade that I ended up picking up. That's the color of it right there. I ended up using up my pink lipstick in my Marc Jacobs one last year, and I missed having a pink shade in my collection. So when e.l.f. came out with these, I wanted to go ahead and give them a try, and that's exactly the pink that I'm looking for. So because I had points through their reward system, I was able to actually get $10 off and free shipping for this order. So I only paid $18 for the 3 e.l.f. products. So I felt like that was an extremely good deal. I ended up pretty much either getting this for free or getting this for like $5. So I am super excited about that purchase, and I'm happy with this purchase. And so with the $36 from the sponges and the $18 from this, like I said, I used up $54 of my budget. So currently at the end of January, I had $46 in my account, and we have bypassed another payday, so that was $50 added. So I currently have $96 in my budget to use for some things in February, and there's an additional payday in February too, so that will add $50. I don't really see myself going too crazy with products. I ended up deciding to skip over the Natasha Denona release for Valentine's Day. I don't really need a face palette, even though it is beautiful. But in February, I don't really see anything calling my name and me purchasing a whole lot. So I'm kind of excited about testing myself to see if I can, stay in that $50 mark if I end up purchasing anything. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my empties and my purchases and hearing a little bit of my thoughts about these products and my thoughts about how I am approaching consumerism this year. If you are also doing a low buy or a no buy or a controlled buy, leave me your tips and tricks or tell me how you're doing it down below. Thank you so, so much for stopping by. I appreciate all of you. You guys are the absolute sweetest. Thank you for the likes and the comments and for subscribing. It really, really is a pleasure to be on this platform again. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.